And like I said, this is called the law of oaths. Colossians 3 and 19. Colossians 3 and 19. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father. By Him, all praises and all due to the Heavenly Father. We give Him honor, and we follow His lead every day. All praises. All right, so today we want to talk about oaths. What is an oath? An oath is a declaration. Okay, it's a declaration based on an appeal to the Most High. All right, we declare our thoughts, our problems to Him. So that's what an oath is. We tell Him this is what we're going to do. That and so that's what that is. That one will basically what we're supposed to do is speak the truth at all times and keep a promise to the Most High, just like He kept a promise to us. Okay, so a lot of us don't know how to keep promises. And so when you make that oath, is the oath the same thing as give your bond, your word? It is. That's your word. When you look at the scriptures in Romans chapter 9, Paul gave his word. Let's see here. Romans chapter 9. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ. You know what that accursed means? It's kind of like being in a, just think about a haunted house. How many of y'all ever heard of a haunted house? Inside the haunted house, you got what? You got ghosts. That ghost is accursed inside that haunted house. It can't leave it. It's stuck. That's what accursed is. We read this all the time, but nobody really explains it. So to be accursed is to be stuck in something. We are stuck in Christ. Right? We want to be stuck in Hamashiach. So it says, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. We want to stick with Hamashiach to be close to our brethren, to get them to come in and serve and worship Him. It says, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. That's the most important part right there, and the promises. That's like an oath. The Most High swore a promise to our forefathers. So the promises are very important. So He gave us His word. Okay? So how about a vow? What does a vow mean? Is it the same thing as an oath? A vow is not the same thing as an oath. An oath is more of a promise to man. Alright? So you see a lot of oaths in today's society. When you take a job, that's a form of an oath that you're given. You raise your right hand and you swear an oath. That's to another man. That's not so much to the Most High, but it could, a vow is to the Most High. When you think about a vow is to the Most High. And normally without the knowledge of man. That's what a vow is, so you get to understand it. So a vow and an oath are two different things. Okay? An oath is between a man, two men, or a woman in the lights of the Most High. And a vow is secretly to the Most High. That's what a vow is. Alright? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Right there. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and let's go to verse 4. 5 and 4. It reads, and thou vowest a vow unto the Most High, defer not to pay it. So don't waste time paying that vow to the Most High. I mean, don't waste time not sacrificing yourself to do what you told, to do what we're supposed to do, like the blessings and the curses. We got those curses because we didn't keep our vow to the Most High, which is follow His laws, statutes, and commandments. He made that pact between Israel and him, between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and him. So we have a vow on us. That vow was made between us and the Most High. Nobody else made that vow but us. Okay, it's not an oath, it's a vow. For ye have no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. How do we pay it? By keeping his laws, statutes, commandments, and teaching the righteous acts. Okay? This world's laws are totally opposite of the Most High's laws. You can see that just by looking in the world. Okay? The Most High's laws are more pertinent, more perfect than any of these laws in this world could ever be. Okay? They could charge you for something in this world that has no bearing of sin whatsoever in the Most High's commandments. Okay? And there's examples of that. All types of examples. Certain fines that you get. That's not breaking the Most High's laws. Parking your car in certain areas. That's not breaking the Most High's laws, but you could get a warrant for that. In this world, which makes no sense. Parking a vehicle somewhere where it belongs and not paying your fine. They could get you for that. It don't make any sense, but yeah. Okay? It's a feudal place. This place is feudal. So, the Most High's laws are perfect. He don't have nothing simple like that you could mess your life up over. The Most High ain't tripping off of that. But man is. See? Let's read on. Verse 5. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow than that shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. Okay? So we all know what sin is. Sin is breaking of the Most High's commandments. Okay? Neither say thou before the angel that it was in error. Wherefore should the Most High be angry at thy voice and destroy the work of thine hands? So if the Most High say don't kill, you don't kill. If the Most High say don't steal, don't steal. Okay? You have to be perfect in this life. Those things are easy to keep away from. Not robbing, not stealing, not betraying your brother. Okay? Those things are easy to do if we just keep his commandments. Let's see an example of a vow in Numbers. Let's go to the book of Numbers. Book of Numbers. And let's go to chapter 6. Book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 1. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Most High, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dry. So what is he getting at? A Nazarite vow. Okay, a Nazarite vow is stricter than just being a regular priest. Okay, the priests drunk wine. The priests, they dealt with people who had illnesses, right? When people died, they wanted to make sure they were dead. They had doctors that were priests. So a Nazarite vow is a little bit more stricter. You have to be absolutely pure to be a Nazarite. It says, all the days of a separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head. Meaning he let his hair grow long, dreads, all right, or braids, until the days be fulfilled in the which he separated himself unto the Most High. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. See? And all the days that he separated himself unto the Most High, he shall come at no dead body. he shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, for his brother. There we go. So yeah, let's go to Numbers chapter 6. And let's go to verse 12. And it says, "And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and make an atonement for him for that he sinned by the dead, and shall hallow his head that same day. And he shall consecrate unto the Lord the days of his separation, and shall bring a lamb of the first year for a trespass offering. But the days that were before shall be lost, because the separation was defiled." It's just like a marriage, right? A marriage gets defiled by, like I said, spiritual fornication, sexual fornication, adultery, spiritual adultery. Once that's broken, everything that you had stops, and then you start back over under that reconciliation. Okay? That's it. Like I said, it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, but in the Old Testament, it didn't work out that way. All right? But there's now reconciliation. Just like Yahushua was reconciliating Israel back to the Most High. Because we had a marriage with the Most High. The law, statutes, commandments. Yahushua had to come and reset that. So everything that we was doing in the past was forgiven for us to start anew and go through what? Hamashiach Yahushua. So that's what we're working with. It's just like the Nazirite vow. It's no different. And this is the law of the Nazirite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall offer his offering unto the Most High, one he-lamb of the first year without blemish, for a burnt offering, and one ewe-lamb of the first year without blemish, for a sin offering, and one lamb without blemish for a peace offering. What is this? This is paying the Most High back. So you offered a vow to the Most High, but you broke it. So you have to sacrifice something to show that you was in error. You have to sacrifice to show the Most High that you have repented. Okay? That's the whole point of this vow. And a basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, and wafers of unleavened bread anointed with oil, and their meat offering and their drink offering, and the priest shall bring them before the Most High, and shall offer his sin offering and his burnt offering. So this is what Yahushua is doing with us. So vows are different from oaths. Like I said, an oath is between men under the cloud of the Most High, and a vow is strictly and secretly to the Most High. All right? So we got to get that understanding. Drop down to verse 18, same chapter. "And the Nazirite shall shave the head of a separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of a separation and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering." Okay, it's just like when you separate from your wife or whatnot. Y'all got to go through some transitions just to get back together. There's got to be all types of things that got to take place. You got to talk to that person, make sure they ain't feeling the same way they was before they left. It's a whole lot of things you got to clean up before letting that person come back because of this vow. You trying to reestablish this vow. Let's drop down to 21. "This is the law of the Nazirite, who have vowed, and of his offering unto the Most High for his separation. Besides that, this his hand shall get, according to the vow which he vowed. So he must do after the law of his separation." The Most High got laws for everything. Okay? So we got to fall in that same thing. We got to fall in that same way that these Nazirites fell in. We have to understand why we're following Mashiach Yahushua. There is a vow that we also took, that we said that his blood will be on our seeds. Okay? Until we turn and start following him. Let's go to Hebrews 6. Because a vow is the same thing as to swear. Not swear a bad word, but to swear. To swear that you're going to do something. It's the same thing. Let's go to Hebrews 6. book of Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 12. Hebrews 6 and 12. It reads, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them. What is slothful? Lazy. That ye be not slothful, but followers of them, who through faith and patience inherit the promises. All right, so what are we trying to do? Inherit the promises, because that oath or that vow that the Most High made to us was a promise. So we have to offer the same thing. We're trying to inherit those promises. For when the Most High made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessings I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. Who obtained this promise? Who obtained it? Abraham obtained this promise. Why? Because he made this oath to the Most High, this vow to the Most High. And he did it. Remember, he said he followed the deeds of the Most High. Remember, he was the doer. Verse 16, for men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. So who is this? Who is this swearing by the greater? An oath? Men. Okay? They swear these things. They swear oath. They swear oath between each other. All right? Let's read, let's keep reading. We stopped at, let's verse 16. For men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife, wherein the Most High willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutable of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath. Right? What did he confirm by oath? His counsel. Alright? Something that's immutable, meaning something that's almost difficult to mend together. He brought it back together and confirmed it by oath. That's what you got, the two kingdoms. He brought those back together, right? Because they were split. That's something that's immutable. Alright? So we got to understand that's what swearing is. When people swear on the Bible, that's what they're doing. They're saying an oath to the Most High and men, swearing on the Bible. Now you got presidents nowadays don't even swear on the Bible. You got some that don't even want to do it. They don't even have a Bible in the courtroom no more because people stop believing in the Most High. All right. So what does that say about our beliefs in the system of the world? You go into a courtroom, they don't have a Bible. It's basically their policies and their rules, but they don't have a Bible because them themselves are guilty. They can't even swear on the Bible. You know, their lives are a lot of times are messed up worse than yours, but they want to accuse you of something. So we have to understand how the system works that we live in today, because everything is systems. Okay, the Most High deals with systems as well. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verse 34. Matthew 5 and 34. Y'all, most of you guys have heard this verse before. Matthew 5 and 34. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is the Most High's throne. All right? And we'll go into that. When he says, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is the Most High's throne. A lot of people say, I swear. They say, I swear on God. You know, quote unquote. A lot of people say that. I swear to God this ain't happening. That don't mean nothing you say because you say you swear to God. That ain't even his name, God. He has a name. If you look that word up, it means many gods. So which God are you referring to? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? But you're swearing on the whole earth, the elements and everything, that what you're saying is true. Okay? A lot of people's minds are polluted. What are they swearing? And they don't even have truth in their heart anyways. They don't know what truth is. But they want you to believe them because they think that their life has been blessed by the Most High and they've been doing evil their whole lives. But they don't know nothing about what he taught. About charity, about brotherly love, about, all they talk about, the blessings, I want the blessings. But they don't know nothing about brotherly love. They betray their brother in a minute, just like Judas. He wanted a blessing too. He wanted to get money. He turned his brother in for money, Judas. He made an oath with the wrong people. He should have made it with the Savior, Hamashiach Yahushua. See that? Oaths of man never stand up. They always fall. Men are wicked. Okay? But you make a vow to the Most High, you got to keep that vow. There's multiple oaths that men have said over their lives and can't even own up to one of them. But they expect everybody else to own up to it. You see? Look at the marriages today. Look how many marriages stay together. Look how many people thrash their marriages. All right. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verse 35. Nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Don't even say a vow to Jerusalem. Don't make an oath to Jerusalem. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head. Don't even swear on your head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. See how sensible the Most High is saying? You don't even know how your hair turned gray. You can't say which one's going to turn gray next. Not me or the smartest man on the earth. But they up here trying to hold these oaths. You understand? Thinking that they better than everybody else. Not keeping one law that the Most High has pronounced. Hate their own family. A lot of these people hate their own families, making oaths. How you going to get somewhere when you hate your own family? You hate your brothers and your sisters, and those who treat you nice, treat you well. I don't like using that word nice because there's two types of nice. I always say that. There's a nice that's actually, you're okay. And then there's a dumb nice. You could be a dumb nice. Nice and dumb. But people be like, oh, he's so nice, but really they said, this dude is dumb. So there's two types of nice. Okay? Verse 37. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. You hear that? Keep it simple. You ain't got to say a whole lot. Just say what happened. If you're going to say something, make sure it comes out the right way. And make sure your heart is in it, which is your mind. Make sure it's there. Because if you're lying, it's just going to come out that you're a liar. If you ain't saying what's right. Is there naiveness? Yeah, there's a lot of naiveness in the world. People communicating, a lot of times it's naiveness. Look at how the news interject into people's lives. People get up and they watch the news every morning, but is everything that the news saying true? A lot of it is untruthful, and people will not search deeper to find out the truth of the news or the newspapers or articles. See that? So oaths and vows are important. The news do not make an oath to you. They just present things to you. Evil is hell. Okay? There's always a back door to a lot of these rules that these people make. And they don't want to, and they want it, but they don't want to give it to nobody else. Brotherly love. So, I mean, the Most High is merciful when it comes to his laws, but man is not. Man is superfied evil. Okay? What did they do to Hamashiach? Didn't they put him in jail? That's what they did. He did nothing. Paul, they even cut off John the Baptist's head. They killed Paul the same way. Paul didn't do nothing. Okay? He might have stepped over some boundaries, not knowing what he was doing, but Paul did okay. You know, he didn't do nothing crazy. And yet he was getting beat up and thrown overboard and shipwrecked and bitten by snakes. Nobody came to his rescue. You know, but the Most High was there for him. Let's go to Deuteronomy 23. Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 21. And it reads, When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Most High thy power, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for the Most High thy power was surely required of thee, and it would be sin in you. See that? It would be sin in you. So if you got to do something for the Most High, you better do it. If he says to go out and teach my law, statutes, commandments, you better try and do it. Don't forget about the Most High. You better try and keep his laws and teach somebody. I don't even care if it's for a minute, 30 seconds. Try to teach this word. So to swear is like making a vow. We already got that, right? We understand what that is. Let's go to Psalms 132. I said it's like making a vow, basically. Psalms 132, verse 2. Psalms 132, verse 2. How he swore unto the Most High, and vowed unto the mighty power of Jacob. Let's read that again. How he swore, let's start from the top. Okay. Hamashiach, remember David in all his afflictions. All his afflictions. Don't you know David had anxiety many times when Saul was trying to kill him? Do you know how much anxiety comes through your body when someone is trying to persecute you or kill you? There's anxiety that runs all through your body. That's where you get stress. That's where that comes from. It comes from anxiety. When you hear about the prophets, they couldn't eat and they fasted all day. That was because it was anxiety. They were under pressure, under the gun. When you hear about Joseph, Joseph getting thrown in jail for nothing, right? They said that he raped somebody, false accusations. What happened? Joseph had anxiety going in there, but the Most High freed him out of there. Okay, all those who lied on him, the Most High had it in. He had it out for them, and what happened to them? They all fell. When you look at who's the other one? Daniel. He got thrown into the lion's den. Don't you know that prophet had anxiety, getting thrown in there with the lions? You think he was really hungry? He was fasting because he was afraid. Okay, but he believed in the Most High thy power. He believed that he would be rescued. Okay, that's what we have to do. We have to understand that the Most High is going to be there for us. We can't give up hope on him. He will free us from all these wicked things that these people in this world do. Remember, most of these people are controlled by Satan anyways. They may not think so, but most of them are. If they ain't following the Most High, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, and following Christ, they are operatives of Satan. Right? Especially when they're coming after you. Operatives of Satan. That's what happened to Job. Job was a perfect man, the scripture says. He didn't sin. But why did his children die? Why did his cattle get slain? Why was he getting persecuted? Why did he get boils on his skin? Why did his wife come against him? He had anxiety as well. He was ready to die. Job was ready to give up. He was like, just take me out. Elijah was the same way. Elijah got tired. The strongest prophet in Israel got tired. He was like, I can't take this no more. Just take me out of here. You know, that's how he was. So we have to understand that in this world, they are against the Most High's people. They are against those who believe in him. And they're coming after you. And it's just a form of tribulation for a small period of time in this lifetime. Okay? Hamashiach Yahushua is another example. All these men made vows to the Most High. All these men held their vows. Yahushua, before he before he got persecuted, went on the Mount of Olives. He had anxiety. He prayed to the Most High, bled blood from his forehead, praying to the Most High, and was tempted, and had anxiety, and had anger in him because the disciples were sleeping. You know how angry he must have been? Here he is going through all these different emotions, anxiety and everything, and these disciples are sleeping. Can you imagine that? You're about to be crucified, and those who have been with you all this time are sleeping, not even paying attention. That's heavy. So we have to understand that. Let's go to, I just want to show you about how these prophets go through anxiety. Let's go to Proverbs. It ain't just us that have these problems. Okay? This was written, what's the scripture say in Romans 15:4? For whatsoever was written for our learning, that we might have comfort through the scriptures. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop. Okay? That heaviness is anxiety. In the heart of a man, that's in his mind. It drops his whole soul. His spirit drops like, why are they coming after me? Why is this happening to me? King David was like that with Saul. Okay? But a good word maketh it glad. What's a good word? These scriptures. You know, since I've been out and about, I say in the last few months, do you know not one person comes up to me and tells me anything about the good news of this Bible? Not one. No one just walks up to me and starts to tell me things about the scriptures, about the law, statutes, commandments, and how the Most High is merciful. That's a blessing to run into someone like that. People are all in their own little world. We're talking about the next football game, next basketball game. Alright? That's the biggest news. First thing come out of their mouths. Don't wear a shirt. Don't wear a shirt with any sports paraphernalia on it. That's the first thing people are going to talk about. Oh, you a such and such fan? Oh, wow, you a Curry fan. Okay? They'll talk about that all day. But let you wear something with scriptures on there. You can walk, nobody will say nothing. They won't even speak to you. They look at you and probably get disgusted. Okay? So, that anxiety can also kill you, man. It's a form of stress. Alright, let's go to Matthew chapter 23. Especially when you didn't do nothing wrong. That anxiety could take you out. That's why you got to hold fast and stand strong. Stand strong. Sometimes you just got to take it. Paul took it. He got killed. He got slayed. He took it. John the Baptist, he took it. Nothing he could do. He was just like a lamb. He died. Okay? Yahushua too. He just took the pain. Couldn't plead his case. Nobody wanted to hear him. They just wanted to see judgment on him. That's it. They didn't care why he died. They just wanted to see it happen. Okay? Until afterwards, afterwards the whole place fell apart. You know what I mean? Most High takes down governments. He takes down systems. That's who we worship, a God that could do such a thing. A power that could destroy man. A power that could destroy kingdoms. Rome was destroyed. Greece was destroyed. All you see is just rubbish over there now. They're trying to rebuild it, but it ain't the same Greece as it was before. Rome ain't the same place it was before. Babylon, Egypt, okay, Assyria. None of them places are the same places. Persia. Persia ain't even named Persia no more. It's called Iran. All right. Matthew chapter 23, verse 16. Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. What does all this mean? Whosoever shall swear by the temple. Because our people believe in this church. They believe in the church. Oh, don't do that in the church. You can't do that in the church. What are they doing? Swearing to the church. They forget what's more important. The church in their mind is not a people. The church in their mind is a building. Okay, the Most High said his church is of his believers. Not the building itself, but the people. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. What's the gold of the temple? All the fabulous things you see in that church. The piano, the altar, you know. A lot of people are like, wow, I love coming here because look at that altar. It's so beautiful. Every week I come here, I feel like I'm in heaven. You know? Most High says, ye fools and blind, for whether is greater the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? Neither one of these could save you. And whosoever shall swear by the altar, oh, that choir sung their hearts out today. I love coming to this place. That altar can't save you. That choir can't save you. It can't save you. The Most High says, it is nothing. But whosoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. See that? That's what he talks about these people that go in these churches. Great sermon, pastor. Great altar. Great songs. Great church. Wow, look at how it stands so high. Yahushua told the disciples, you see all these buildings around here? They're all going to come to rubble in Matthew chapter 24. He said, not one stone will be upon another. That's what he told them. And it was brand new when they were saying, it was like, wow, let us take you down to the temple down there. He was like, it's all going to be stubble in a minute. It wasn't even important to him. Verse 19, ye fools and blind, for whether is greater the gift or the altar that sanctifieth the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, sweareth by it, and by all the things thereon, all that stuff you see up on the altar, the plants, the flowers, the right, the pastor, his big old garment, right? And whoso shall swear by the temple, sweareth by it, and by him that dwelleth therein. And he that shall swear by heaven, sweareth by the throne of the Most High, and by him that sitteth thereon. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law. They forgot about the law. Judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. See that? So our people forget about the weightier things, which is the law, the judgments, the mercy, the faith. They forget about all of that. Because they want to look good. They want to wear their best suit to church. Right? They want to come with all their family. Oh, these are my children. They ain't even got themselves together. Just showing off. See? This is my wife. See how beautiful she is? She's a trophy piece. That's not important to the Most High. Take that out. It's, beauty is skin deep. Most High don't care about how good she look. Or how handsome your children are. He don't care. He want to know what you doing. What's your mind like? That's what he want to see. If you're going to swear on anything, don't swear to the Most High unless you can back it up. Don't swear on your body, on your soul. If you cannot honor it, don't do it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 6. If you can't back it up, don't even try. Don't even try. That's more than 85% of this population on this planet today. They can't back it up. I said 85 because there are people that can do it. There are people that can do it. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 13. Deuteronomy 6 and 13. Thou shalt fear the Most High thy power, and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. See that? We gotta fear him. So basically you gotta give and keep them laws. Okay? You gotta do it forever. Why we gotta do it forever? Because that's the vow that we have made. We made this vow a long time ago with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If you're not gonna try to keep any of these laws, statutes, commandments, then you're just gonna perish. If you don't try to repent, you're just gonna perish. Easy as that. You're gonna die. Let's go to Psalms chapter 24. Book of Psalms chapter 24. Psalms 24 verse 3. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Most High? And who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart. See? That's who's going to be able to stand before the Most High. Him that keeps the laws. Because when you keep the laws, you have clean hands. They tell you don't keep the laws today. They say you don't have to keep them. All you need is faith and mercy. That's it. And grace. No, you got to keep the laws, buddy. The laws of the Most High. And then you get the faith and the grace and the mercy through your Hamashiach Yahushua. Who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. Let's go to Jeremiah 12 and 16. Book of Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 16. And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, the Most High liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal. Who taught his people to swear by Baal? The other nations. Who is this people? The 12 tribes of Israel. Like people act like they don't exist. He always dealt with the 12 tribes of Israel. Then shall they be built in the midst of my people. Who's going to be built in the midst of his people? The other nations, if they follow us to the Most High. That's the only way they're going to get to the Most High. They got to follow the 12 tribes of Israel. But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, save the Most High. This nation is finished. They don't care about the 12 tribes of Israel. Because, our people are a trip, man. They continually worshiping the temple. And the temple is vain. Let's go to Sirach in the Apocrypha. Sirach chapter 5. All around the cities, that's all you see. Churches, churches, churches. All over the place. Ain't nobody serving the Most High. How many days, I can tell you, how many times do people go to church if they really serve the Most High? How many times do they really go? One time a week? One time. Is that enough to serve the Most High? One time? What about the other days of the week? Okay? What about them? Do they serve the Most High the other 6 days? You're supposed to serve them 7 days a week. 7 days. You're supposed to love the Most High. 7 days. Never stops. You're supposed to constantly talk about the Most High. People stop talking after they leave that nasty building on their so-called Shabbat. Sirach chapter 5, verse 1. Sirach 5 and 1. Set not thy heart upon thy goods, and say not, I have enough for my life. Follow not thine own mind in thy strength. to walk in the ways of the heart. Don't follow your own mind. It'll lead you down to death. And say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Most High will surely revenge thy pride. See that? Your pride always causes you to fall. Pride. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm have happened unto me? For the Most High is long suffering. He will in no wise let you go. Okay? Don't be sitting up here. When it says, say not, I have sinned, this is talking about those of you who think you have sinned. You know, and the people who go to these Christian churches, when something happened to them, they think it's because they didn't go to church. Okay? But to a lot of our people, when things happen to them, they try to go to church when they get afflicted. They try to go to church. But the Most High is saying, it's not because of that. It's not because you didn't go to church. It's not because you think you sin. It's because He just wanted to bring some tribulation on you just to see if you can handle the rain. He wants to see how much you truly love Him. Are you going to seek Him even when it's raining? You know? Your life could always be good, but when that trouble comes, are you still going to seek Him? That's why He said what He said. For the Most High is long suffering. That long suffering goes a long ways. He will in no wise let thee go. That's that brotherly love. Long suffering. Got to be there for your brothers and sisters. Right? Concerning appropriation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin. It says, be not without fear to add sin unto sin, and say not, his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners. See that? Most High gonna get them sinners. Them sinners mess with you, guess what? They may laugh now, but they gonna cry later. Best believe they gonna cry. They may think they're doing something right now to you, but guess what? They gonna cry later. You ain't gonna be nowhere around when it happens. It ain't gonna be you that's doing it. They ain't gonna understand why they catching so much hell. They gonna cry, especially when they mess with the servants. Oh boy. Sad day. I'm telling you. Most High gonna bring that judgment on them. He said, touch not my anointed. Isn't that what he said? Touch not my anointed. He gonna bring judgment on them. You know, they giving high fives. You think about Yahushua when they caught him. They was giving high fives. Oh yeah, we got him. We got him. That's what they were saying. We finally got him. They had tunnel vision. They didn't even want to hear the matter, the truth of the matter. All they wanted was Yahushua. They just wanted to get him. Okay? Most High gonna bring judgment. He brought judgment on them. Brought judgment on them. Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. Exodus 20 and 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's house. We have oaths for our brethren. Things that we just can't do to each other. Okay? We can't take from each other. We can't take each other's wives. Those are oaths between Israelites. We have integrity amongst each other. There's certain things we just don't do. Okay? That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not like that now. You hear about all the yin yang and yang in the barbershops and the beauty salons where they talking bad about each other, but that ain't the way it was supposed to be. We're supposed to love each other. Let's go to James chapter 5. Book of James. Book of James, and let's go. Let's see. Where we at? James chapter 5, verse 17. Let's jump up to verse 12 of the slackness. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other, but let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. Alright, so tell the truth. Tell the truth. Let's go to Mark chapter 6. Verse 22. Mark 6 and 22. And when the daughter of the said Herodias came in, and danced, and pleased Herod, and them that sat with him, the king said unto the damsel, Ask of me whatsoever you wilt, and I will give it thee. And he swore unto her, Whatsoever thou shalt ask for me, I will give it thee, and unto the half of my kingdom. And she went forth and said unto her mother, What shall I ask? And she said, The head of John the Baptist. Isn't that evil? That's evil. That's evil. She asked for a prophet's head. And he swore to her that he would do it. That's evil. So let's get back to the oaths. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. Because those were mostly swearings, which are like oaths, right? Or vows. But vows and oaths are different. 2 Corinthians. Let's see. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. 2 Corinthians 1 and verse 23. Moreover, I call the Most High for a record upon my soul, that to spare you I came not as yet unto Corinth, not for that we have dominion over your faith, but are helpers of your joy. For by faith ye stand. Remember we was talking about anxiety? These people needed that joy. They needed that happiness to bring them out of those holes that they were in. Right? You can only get beat down so long without having any joy. You got to have some joy sometimes. Okay? Let's go to Numbers. The Most High didn't create us to be sorrowful all the time. He didn't create us for that. There's got to be some joy in there. Okay? Let's go to Numbers chapter 30. Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Most High, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. Okay? So there's a such thing as a double oath. Some people have two oaths against two masters. Right? But you have to be careful with that too. Okay? There was a man named, what was his name? Longinus. Had a sword that pierced Yahushua's side. Okay? He made an oath to the kingdom that he belonged to, which was Rome. And he also made an oath to the Most High amongst men. His first oath was to the Romans. Second oath to the Most High amongst his soldiers. And one of the oaths didn't stand long enough. Well, he kept his oath, but one collided with the other. Okay? One collided with the other. He exhausted the first oath. He did a great job. Did it to the best of his ability. Until it was no longer of service to continue it. So he started the second oath, which was following the Most High. Well, the first oath got angry and told him to go to war. And he told him that he was honoring the second oath. So what did the first oath do? They killed him. That's a true story. Longinus. Okay? And so you could love both your oaths, but one of them is going to hate the other. And sometimes they'll kill you in the midst of it, even if you're about to exhaust it. Okay? Is that righteousness? No, it's not. It's not righteousness at all. It's wickedness, especially after you've exhausted it. There should be a reward given behind it. Okay? Let's go to Galatians chapter 1. Book of Galatians chapter 1. And let's drop down to verse 18. Galatians 1 and 18. Galatians 1 and 18. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter. Who is this? This is Paul. And abode with him 15 days. But other of the apostles saw I none. None save James, the Most High's brother. So he saw no one else with the top disciple, Peter. No one came to see him in over 15 days. He was just in his house. The only one who came to see him was James. Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before the Most High, I lie not. He's telling the truth, because this was supposed to be something like, really, Peter in the house by himself? No one came to visit him after all this work he's done in the world, out there teaching the Gospels, and no one came to visit him? He put his life on the line for years. He exhausted his first job to follow Hamashiach Yahushua, and no one came to see him. Paul said, I lied not. I lied not. This man was of the Most High, and no one came to see him. Unbelievable. So he's saying he can't lie because of what? The vow for him to teach the gospel as well. That's why he was so shocked. No one came to see him, because he has the same vow. Let's go to Psalms. And it's the same way today. People don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear lies. They don't want to hear the truth. They think that what we're teaching is just like what everybody else teach. Don't y'all know that? They don't listen what we're saying. We're giving them key elements, key factors, and that's what? Keeping the Most High's commandments. The churches don't even teach the commandments anymore. That's if they did, there wouldn't be so much killing in the streets. You turn on your news, and that's all you hear about. Killing. Okay? Stealing, lying, cheating. That's all you hear about. You don't hear nothing good. You hear some charity here and there. You know? But for the most time, it's a bunch of wickedness on TV. Psalms chapter 61. Psalm 61 verse 8. So will I sing praise unto thy name forever, that I may daily perform my vows. Okay, well, we perform our vows when we do what? Keep the commandments. That's performing our vows. It's the biggest chapter in the Bible, Exodus chapter 20. He tells you, you shall not have another God before you, not one. And you see all these different gods in this place. All these different gods. Baal all over the place. And the Most High is being squeezed out. He's squeezing them out little by little. You see Islam, people squeezing out the Most High, but they got Islam in there. They got Buddhism in there. They got all these different religions in there. Okay? But no one is praising the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If they're trying to, they're not knowing how to. Still not knowing how to. That's the issue. Let's go to Job 22 and 27. Book of Job, chapter 22, verse 27. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he shall hear thee. And thou shalt pay thy vows. What's the vows? Y'all should know what the vows are. You recite the righteous acts. You recite the rehearsal mode of the feast days. You recite it. You practice it. You can become great by practicing things. It's all practice. Let's go to Exodus 22 and 11. Exodus 22 and 11. Then shall an other of the Most High be between them both, that he hath not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. And the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good. Let's keep reading. So you're doing this before man and the Most High, right? And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. So this is just basic laws, loving your brother. If you take from him, you got to give back to him. Okay? Let's jump to Numbers 5 and 19. Numbers 5 and 19. This is one that's going to rattle some nerves. Numbers 5 and 19. Numbers 5 verse 19. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, if no man have lied with you, this is a married woman who went out and cheated. If no man have lied with you, and if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bitter water that causes the curse. But if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, and if thou be defiled, and some man have lied with thee beside thine husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, and the priest shall say unto the woman, the Most High make thee a curse, and the other among thy people, when the Most High doth make thy thigh to rot and thy belly to swell. So the Most High is telling the women, this is an oath between her husband and her, okay, in front of a priest. So this is an oath and not a vow, okay? That's the difference. This is an oath and not a vow. Where is this coming from? If you go into 1 Corinthians, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. This is the law of restitution for adultery and fornication. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Where is it? My Bible's sticking together now. It's so old. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. See that? The Most High said to avoid fornication. Have your own husband, have your own wife. So you ain't got to go out and do something wrong. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 8. These are oaths and vows that we're going over. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 31. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 31 reads, if any man trespass against his neighbor, and an oath be laid upon him to cause him to swear, and the oath come before thine altar in this house, then hear thou in heaven, and do, and judge thy servants, condemning the wicked to bring his way upon his head, and justifying the righteous to give him according to his righteousness. Are these things still in effect today? Of course they are. What do you think America got their laws from? Okay, now they're getting so watered down that they done created new laws out of those laws that has nothing to do with the laws of the Most High. It's so watered down now. Okay, it's no longer in America just to provide for your family. That don't mean nothing to them, to provide for your family. It's what can you do for us? Okay, what can you do for us every day of the week? That's what it's about. 2 Kings chapter 11. 2 Kings chapter 11 verse 4. In the 7th year Jehoiada sent and fed the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of the Most High, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Most High, and showed them the king's son. So he made a vow and an oath. Alright? So these things were done in the old days before the Most High. A handshake was done before the Most High in the old days. People don't shake on anything no more. It's not a handshake. The handshakes don't mean nothing anymore. Okay? In the old days of Abraham, putting your hand under your thigh or under your son's thigh was an oath. Okay? That was what they did back then. Jeremiah 38 and 16. Jeremiah 38 and 16. Jeremiah begin deep, really deep. Jeremiah 38 verse 16, and it reads, So the king swore secretly unto Jeremiah, saying, As the Most High liveth, that made us this soul, I will not put thee to death, neither will I give thee into thy hand of these men that seek thy life. See that? This is a king that swore. Kings can make a difference in people's lives. Magistrates can make a difference in people's lives. Judges can make a difference in people's lives. They can see the harshness of those bringing them up on certain charges and make a difference and make it make sense. Okay? Leaders can make a difference on the people. That's why we've been condemned all this time. That's why the Most High had to send his son Yahushua to stand in between us and him. He's making a difference. Okay? To have a just, balanced mind and to recognize what's before you. Everything is never the same thing. Every situation is always a different situation. Okay? Based on the explanation and the facts. Everything is different. Nothing is based on this here and that there. It's based on how that judge. Look at Solomon. He was the greatest judge in the East. Right? He was the wisest man in the East. Why was he famous? Because he was a great judge. And he was a merciful judge. Didn't you see what he did with the 2 women that had the child? He said, if y'all want the child, let's just split it in 2. You take one half and you take the other. The real mother stood forth. The real mother didn't want that to happen, so she stood back and let the other woman, even though she wasn't the mother, she let the other woman have him. She didn't want the baby to die. Okay? That was a just judge. Okay? That was a just magistrate. Wisdom is the ruler of all things. Wisdom. Okay? You can always have facts. You can always have this, but wisdom ruleth over all. People don't have wisdom. They have tunnel vision. That's what they have. That's what's wrong with the world today. Tunnel vision. They don't know how to be They don't know how to have a character. They like to follow the masses. They want to show, oh, I'm this and I'm that. That's what it's about. It's not about being humble. They don't know how to be humble. They don't know how to do that. Let's go to Ezekiel 17. Ezekiel 17, verse 13. And have taken of the king's seed and made a covenant with him, and have taken an oath of him. He hath also taken the mighty of the land. Okay? So the Most High does what? So read again. And have taken of the king's seed and made a covenant with him. Why did he take of the king's seed? Because this was a just king. What seed is this? This is the seed of King David, King Solomon, right? And this one is talking about the king of Babylon. Okay? Talking about the king of Babylon. King of Babylon had mercy on some of our people. Daniel had mercy. He loved Daniel. He threw him in the pit. He threw him in the fire. He put that judgment on him, but he still loved him, and he had mercy on him in the end. Let's go to Ezekiel. I mean, it's just it's a form of brotherly oath. That's all it is. I want to go to Genesis. We're almost done. Genesis 31. Genesis 31, and let's go to 44. Genesis 31 and 44. Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap. And they did eat thereupon the heap. Alright, so this was a what? An oath between them in the eyes of the Most High. We always did that in the eyes of the Most High. And we kept it. All of this stuff can also fall into different categories. Let's go to Matthew 6 and 24. Matthew 6 and 24. This is what Yahushua says. Yahushua says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to throne. What does that hate mean? Does that actually mean to hate them? No, that means, okay, I'm done with them because I've given them all I had. Now I'm ready to go to the next. Alright? It's not actual hate. So you have to understand, it's just like I was telling you about Longitis. It's the same thing. He served his duty. He did his warrior, his officer duty in that field. And then when he came to serve the Most High, he did his officer duty in that field. Just like Paul. Paul did the same thing. Paul was a Pharisees. He served out the Pharisees' deal and went to follow what? Hamashiach Yahushua afterwards. But he served out his field. They all knew him. He was well known amongst his peers. But then he changed up. And then they what? Condemned him for that. And he had no ill will towards them, but they still condemned him. Alright? These are oaths and failure to keep the brotherly love oaths. A lot of people's jobs do that. They don't have a brotherly love for the people that work for them. Basically, they raise their babies and then they eat them up. If that makes sense to you. That's what they do. Raise their babies and then they eat the babies. Not giving them a chance to go off and do something else. Matthew 6 and 24. Let's read the whole thing again. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and money. Money is not important. Even though it helps sustain us, you can't serve both. Don't try to get rich in this society. Let the Most High bless you. You only do just what you need to get to the next level. And some people be head over heels with getting rich. Okay? It's not about getting rich. It's about taking care of your duties and your family. Right? Remember what I said before? It's about taking care of your family. That's the basic instructions. So you work to take care of your family, not to get rich. Not to be in the poorhouse either. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 33. Matthew 5 and 33. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Most High thy oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is the Most High's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool. Everything you say is in the midst of the Most High. That Joel 2 and 27. Everything we say is in the midst of him. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head. Okay? Like we read this earlier. So I'm going to touch on one last thing, and we're going to end it with this. Let's go to Numbers chapter 30. We're just going to briefly go over this, and we're going to end it with this. Numbers chapter 30, verse 1. And Moses spoke unto the heads of the tribes. What tribes? The 12 tribes of Israel. Not all the tribes of the world, just the 12 tribes of Israel. Concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Most High hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Most High, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Most High, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bond her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bond her soul shall stand. So, now you brothers and sisters understand, when they have a wedding, who brings the bride down to the groom? Is it not the father? The father always brings the bride down to the groom. And what does the father do? The minister or the priest says, do you lawfully give this woman to be this man's lawful wife? And the father normally says, I do. Why is that? Because it's all about the vows and the oaths. Okay, so today's society practice it, but they don't continue to practice it. They throw it in this little small ceremonies, but they don't understand the ramifications of it. Because this society is messed up, because now you got women walking down their daughters to give them to their husbands, which is totally off. Okay, so why were men able to vow that? Because in order for that, you have to understand how the old days worked. To testify in court, that was normally of a man. No offense to the women, I'm just telling you. The men testified in court, not women. Because testify is a word that comes from the etymology word of testicles. Okay? In order to testify in the old days, you had to raise your right hand, and your left hand would grab your nutsack. I'll just say it like it is. Because when a man did that, he was testifying on his children. Okay? In a man's testicles is his children. And so this is why men were able to testify, because they would curse the rest of their family if they said something wrong in the lights of the Most High. Okay? This is why this woman had to be given from her father to another husband. To a husband. Okay? So let's read verse 4. And her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. So if the father didn't say anything, it's okay. Okay? But you have to understand with Adam and Eve, the same thing happened. Adam kept his peace. And what happened? The curse came upon Adam and Eve. Okay? Remember what the Most High told Adam? Why did you hearken to the voice of your wife and not to the voice of your father? Because he knew better. So if you don't say anything and you let your wife say whatever she wants or your daughter say whatever, guess what? That can come back on you. It still stands this way. Even though we have women lawyers, women teachers, women police officers, women everything. This law right here is in the earth. It still stands. But this is why the Most High did something special in the earth. Jeremiah 31:22 said that he would make a new thing in the earth. That he would make a woman surpass a man. Why? Because men have forgot to keep their natural state. Let's go to verse 5. But if her father disallow her in that day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. And the Most High shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. And if she had at all an husband when she vowed, or uttered out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. It's the same thing with the husband. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips wherewith she bound her soul of none effect, and the Most High shall forgive her. See, the Most High still forgives the women. Just like he forgave Eve, but he brought punishment on Eve, right? But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. See that? A vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, their vow shall stand against her. He ain't going to forgive that one. All right, so you got to be careful what you say. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, that all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. That's Adam and Eve. But if her husband have utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband have made them void, and the Most High shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding other to afflict thy soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establish all her vows, or all her bonds which are upon her. He confirmeth them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall in any ways make them void after that he have heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. See, all this stuff come back on the men. Right? That's why we had to get a new Adam, which was Hamashiach Yahushua. He had to come and change that around. Why do you think he didn't deal with women? Yahushua had to set it straight. He could not waver. He could not falter. He had to get it right. Not saying there ain't nothing wrong with them. We got to have wives. The priests had wives. But Yahushua had a certain mission where he couldn't have a woman to offset them. Because you got to understand, Satan was working against Hamashiach. He couldn't afford to have a weaker vessel on his side. He couldn't afford it. Because Satan would manipulate her to get to him. He had to use Judas instead. Okay? So, I'll read this last verse. These are the statutes which the Most High commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house. So these are the oaths and the vows that we went over tonight. Hope you brothers and sisters got some understanding.
The word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.